Guys, we're back in with Farming Simulator 25, doing a deep dive on the all-new GPS system. That's right, the GPS system that is for all platforms. So console players, you're also getting this along with PC players. No more need to worry about course play, auto drive. Well, you still kind of need some of those things, but I digress. Let's dive in and take a look at this GPS system and see how it works. So unlike previous versions of the game, the B button or the H button on your keyboard does different things now. As you can see in my control group, my menu up in the top left-hand corner, we have options to activate worker, or if we hold the button down, it will go into our menu screen so we can see what it's all about. So let's just hold it down and take a look at our menu. Now, the GPS system is double in a way, right? You have your AI worker, which we're set on right now. You can also toggle over and get steering assist, which is kind of like your GPS system. So you get to still operate the machinery, but there's something behind it. There's a computer behind it that's basically keeping you on course. Now, we're going to dive into that in a second here. Let's start over on AI Worker first, just for the time being. And you know what? Since we're talking about smart things in Farming Simulator 25, that's a perfect segue to the sponsor of today's video, which is G-Portal Game Servers. Are you ready to upgrade your Farming Simulator experience? Well, with G-Portal Game Servers and Farming Simulator 25, it's time to take your farm to the next level. When you play Farming Simulator 25 on a G-Portal game server, your multiplayer farms will be available whenever you are. No longer waiting for the host to get online. If you're ready to farm, your G-Portal game server will have your tractor already warmed up and waiting for you. Whether you're planting, harvesting, or building the farm of your dreams, G-Portal game server is the ultimate multiplayer experience. No lag, no hassle. Just pure farming fun with your friends. With G-Portal's dedicated servers, you can host your own games effortlessly. Customize your servers to fit your needs, whether you're on Xbox, on PlayStation, or PC. All platforms can use G-Portal game servers, and all platforms can play together. Setting up your server has never been easier. In just a few clicks, you're going to be ready to go. Plus, G-Portal game servers support all your favorite mods. You can even expand your server to have 25 gigabytes of mod space, which will allow you to install any mod map and all the mods you could possibly think of, so you can expand your farming possibilities like never before. Team up, trade up, and build a legacy together. With G-Portal game servers, the fields are truly endless. Be sure to use the link down in the description today to get your 10% off your G-Portal game server and elevate your Farming Simulator 25 experience. Grab your friends and let's farm with the G-Portal game servers and Farming Simulator 25 like never before. So as we move down the list, our working width is the size of the header on the equipment we're running, or if it's the size of the plow, the cultivator, the lime spreader, whatever it might be, that's going to auto-populate with whatever this width of that piece of equipment is for its utilization for working. So the header is 6 meters, so it's set to auto. We could increase this if we wanted to for some reason. Obviously, we'd be missing it, portions of it, but you're going to see that that's auto-reflected over here on the right side on the mini-map. So we have an idea of what's going on. Can I go smaller? I can too, so we could go smaller too if we wanted to overlap. That could be something we could do if we felt we wanted to make sure we got all the corners. I don't know, there could be some reasons for it. As far as number of headlands go, so our headlands are the circles that go all the way around. We can increase those up to, well, quite a bit if we wanted to. So you could go all the way around for 5 passes instead of going back and forth. Or right now, 2 is the lowest we can go. Once again, it's auto-populating that for me based on the size of the field and the equipment we're using in order to make sure we can do these the up and down sections. Now, if we wanted to just do up and downs, it'll get rid, that's where it's going to start. It's going to start with the up and down sections rather than going to our headlands. And we could just turn off the headlands altogether so we don't do any headlands, which is an option as well. So you have a couple options here. You can also skip lines if you wanted to. So if you wanted to run multiple pieces of equipment through here, you could potentially do this. Might make life a little bit easier for you. Alternatively, the other option you do is to do it yourself, like I said. So we can go over to steering assist. And for the most part, we have the same options available to us. You notice that map didn't really change at all. Well, the job that the workers are designed to do, we could do this ourselves and just not have to pay them. We could work it and run the equipment while the AI or the GPS system kept us on track. Now, if you are doing the steering assist, you do have a couple other options. Your work direction, you can change this slightly, right? You can change some of the directions of some of the angles that you need to run. So if you wanted to change it up for whatever reason, if you felt it'd be easier for you to run a field in this particular orientation, or go down to say a 90. There we go. Maybe that's a little bit easier for you. Then by all means, you can change that up how you like. And your offset, you can change this if you're running, for instance, a pull behind swather. So you had the swather was pulled off to the one side of your tractor. You could change this up and make it so that you only worked on one side if you wanted to do that. Or if you're running multiple pieces of equipment like the tedder and a windrower behind it, a rake behind that, you may have to do some jogging. And then for some reason, if you made the mistake, you can always hit reset, and that's going to put it back to what the automatic defaults were for that field with the equipment you're running. So those are the two options right there. Let's just let this harvester run for a little bit here. We'll see how she goes. So once again, I just hired a worker like I normally would. It doesn't take right off like we're used to. It does tend to think for a second and figure out where it is. And then it's going to go and run the course that is currently generated inside the program. Now, if we turn this off, let's go and take a quick look if I were to do it now. So steering assist mode's on instead. We can see we get the same lines you could see in the previous menu now are on the field because we're operating it. But now instead, when I hit the B button or the H button on the keyboard, it's going to activate it. So you can see there's a yellow line underneath me. If I hit the button, that means if you see it's green, you hear the chirp. That means that it's activated and the equipment's going to stay on that course. That's a great way for some lines, some areas. Unfortunately, there are some minor issues with that. It doesn't work everywhere. Once we get down to, well, the tractor right here, you're going to see it won't turn for me. That is where the pathing stops. And I'm going to need to take care of that from this point. You heard the chirp. It realized that's where the headlands begin. So I now have to take control. So from here, I can just turn into the field, wait for the line to turn yellow. There it is. As soon as it turns yellow, I can just hit B. And once again, it activates the GPS. And now I can drive under that pathing and I don't have to worry about it anymore. It's going to take the path that's designated. And yeah, it'll just drive it for you. So on a square field, yeah, you don't necessarily need this by any means. On some of the some fields with some mild corners on them, your pathing will actually work really quite well. And you know what? Even your AI workers, they will work really well with those as well. It's a real nice way of being able to manage some of the more complex fields in Farm Sim now, rather than having to always have to go back and take control of your AI workers, or even yourself for that matter. Now you can set your cruise control on and just let her buck. Now, just for an example, for a field with a slight corner, you can see I've hired a worker here to go around with the rake and take care of some of this headed grass. And yeah, no problem whatsoever. This hay is just being moved over and it simply goes around the corner for me. It knows exactly where it has to go. No problems whatsoever. Unfortunately, sometimes the GPS doesn't work as reliably for the AI as you would like. I've had some problems with this header, for example, trying to turn this field into hay, where it would just kind of start and stop randomly on certain spots. Maybe some of the grass was messing with it, but I have had some issues with this on multiple occasions where it just all of a sudden would stop and no reason why it decided to turn around. It seemed like it was good to go. Yeah, anyways, just be aware there could be some problems with the tedder at times. Now, it is actually possible, guys, you may have noticed, to do pretty much all of the field work with AI in Farming Simulator 25. So we can mow our grass, we can ted, we can rake it all up, and it all does work together. The one thing your AI assistants can't do still, and that's bale. We cannot bale with our AI workers. That's still something you're gonna have to do yourself. Now, while you can't hire a worker to do a baler, you can do it yourself and use the GPS, the steering assist mode, to steer your tractor for you. When you're baling, it's just you have to ensure that your pathing system is set up on the windrow, which can be a bit of a challenge. So on this particular field here, I used a rake that was set up for a side discharge windrow. I believe it was 9.1 meters, and it was set off on the side. So there's two problems that's going to cause. I can set my working width for the steering assist to 9.1 meters. That's totally fine. And you can see it's over on the mini map. It shows that off. Now, since it was a side discharge, I'm going to need to put my side offset out as well, roughly half of that. So 4.5, 4.4 meters, who knows? Something along those lines. Now you can see the lines have shown up, but they don't really look all that close. That's going to be a problem we'll have to deal with. The other problem is, since it's a side discharge, guys, it's discharging on the outmost side of the field to begin with. So that's going to be another problem we're going to need to deal with, because it's not going to want to go there. Now, I'm going to try and fight my way through this But the only pathing system that's showing up, of course, is to my left. As you can see, that's the only line that's showing up that's activatable. The blue line are the widths of the current pathing system, not where I want to be. So I cannot activate it on the current row I'm on top of, if that makes any sense. So really, realistically, I'm going to have to go and drive this myself the whole way around and just do it myself before I can come onto the other row and get some help from my GPS system, which kind of negates the problem, right? It's a kind of a pointless point of having GPS then. If I'm doing it all myself, why did I bother making this path? Kind of frustrating, but yeah, you can't do it with that side rake if you have a field like this. Alternatively, guys, if you pick up a rake that has a center discharge, that'll make your life so much easier. We can simply go through, rake up our grass clippings, and then we have to do is set our baler up to have the same specs as the rake, which was 7.8 meters. And look at that. All of a sudden, all of our planning worked out. Those lines look like they're right down the middle of the rows, and that's going to allow me to use this baler perfectly and seamlessly, even on these corners on this field. I love the fact that we can do this now in Farm Sim. Just like these model corners are just enough that you may miss something if you're not quite paying attention for some reason, and the tractor will stay on path and manage to pick up all of the clippings that you put down before. Fantastic. And of course, it's not only for haying and silage work and grass work. Realistically, guys, the GPS program really shines when you're doing most normal field work, from plowing and cultivating, from liming, and especially fertilizing and liming and spraying, because you can't necessarily see the distance that your product is being thrown out into the fields. Works fantastic in those applications because it's already set what the distance is that you're utilizing, you're working with on. So fantastic application for that. So guys, I think that's going to do it in today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial on the new GPS system for Farming Simulator 25. Really excited to see this brought into base game for all platforms, like I said. Of course, if you haven't picked up your copy of Farming Simulator 25, there's a link down in the description. At the time of recording, you can still get a pre-order. So you get the Mac Dawn pack on release as well. Make sure you guys get that if you're on PC. Console players, you can get that right off your consoles. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe for more Farming Sim 25 content over the next while. And we'll see you guys in the next one. This is Klutch. Over and out.